Judd Lofsey.
Bob Helverson.
David Ballard.
Anything outstanding? Nothing. There's nothing.
Right now, we're pretty much on trend, same as we were last month. We've got the payroll report in there as well. I mean, you can look at the payroll report. We're trending exactly because our payroll mostly is every 2 weeks. We have the biweekly payroll on the 15th and 30th, which are stated in there as well. There's not much movement or at all on payroll. It's very like clockwork, I should say.
So you're pretty much seeing all the money coming in on time.
So that's a good question. I'm glad that you brought that up. Still, the founder is coming in on time. Our local funds are definitely, we got our new distribution for our taxes coming in, so we will have that coming in. We also, as far as the state and evidence-based funding and any type of particulars that come with the grants, they're still on time. They're still making payments in a timely manner. All of our electronic expenditure reports are up to date. We're not waiting on any of them, so we're as clean as we possibly can be this time of year. So it's still very traditional, about 20 to 35 days, just kind of lag time by the time we get in the actual expenditure report to by the time we need to see the next distribution coming in from the state through Frizz. Yeah. But otherwise, state funding or evidence-based funding is like clockwork. It's coming in. So, yeah. So this is the beverage contract renewal. This would be our 5th year with Coca-Cola. So it was a 3+1+1. This is the 2nd year of the second that could be possible for extension coming up for this upcoming year. This does all the vending machines and around the entirety of the district, and also helps provide some beverages for our kind of after school sports and athletic activities as well. And this is the contract that we have with them. We have to go out to bid the following year and look at either doing a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year, and kind of see what the marketplace looks like on that. And I'm assuming we're probably going to go plastic again versus any type of cans or aluminum. Yeah.
So on the renewal, it's the same price, or they're raising it, or?
So on the renewal itself, we have a planogram depending on which product it is. We have anything from Dasani water to different Coca-Cola products. There are some higher priced, I almost want to call them like sports energy drinks that are a little bit higher, but otherwise they are following the planogram and the dollar amount along with the compensation that we have coming back, because it's like a split commission coming back to the district, and we use it to help fund things at the school locations.
Okay. Sounds good.
So that'll go for action at the next board meeting, not tonight.
Yep.
High school band uniform.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So since we did such a wonderful job with the band instruments, and everything kind of came back well under expectations. One of the needs that was derived from the high school, we're looking at band uniforms. This was brought on last year, then again reiterated earlier on this year. And so I'm just looking for a little bit of consensus to kind of go out and see what's out there, see what the costs are on certain band uniforms, if you will, because we can't really do a bid, per se, because it's like trying to bid out clothes. There's a million different manufacturers with a million different specs, but if we can kind of go out there and maybe do a couple of requests for quotes for band uniforms. We can do like, hey, this is the Cadillac option, this is the Honda option, and this is the, I don't know, the Pinto option or whatever you want to call it. Kind of look at it and kind of see what's going to nicely align with the band program and hold up for years, and try to find the best value that we can going forward and bring that back to the board at a later time. I think it would be a good thing to do.
So we're going to change the look of our band uniforms. I always thought they looked
I'm not
great.
going to get into the look of it. That is not up to me. No, no, honestly, it's going to come down to the different band directors and trying to maybe like a consensus between them of what the band uniform should look like and kind of go through, because I know part of their appeal was a little bit more modern of a view versus a traditional kind of view for band uniforms. So,
Mhm.
and you keep in mind, band uniforms typically last 10, 15 years. So it's something we're going to be holding on to for a while.
Yeah, because I didn't think the band uniforms were that old. They are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're getting
How
complaints.
old are they?
I would have to reach out to Mr. Joe Coolidge. He'll tell me exactly, but I know they're more than 10 years old for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Geez, it just seems like yesterday.
It's I'm telling you, COVID definitely made time disappear during a lot of it. So
This
Where's
Principal
my-
Mitchell, is that about 10 years or so? Does that sound accurate?
yeah.
Kids are marching and warm out, they're really sweating and dying. More current model with pieces, where like when it's warm, they can like take the sleeves off and have, you know what I mean? It's more versatile, that they can go with the warm weather, the cold weather. The students are more comfortable and they're able to move around, some of the things can be hard. Them to really function totally with the baby.
Okay.
So we're not committing, we're just gonna go to bid.
We're not even to bid. We're just going to redo like a
Oh,
request for
okay.
quote, look around
Okay.
and non-committal.
Yeah.
My idea is to kind of come back at the next meeting or even following meeting and say, hey, this is what we've gathered. Here's the supporting that and if we come to, consensus on, hey, this is probably the best outfit or best option for the band, then we'll bring it to the board's attention.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Use the word outfit.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever done that before on a board meeting, an outfit. But okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. High school concert grand piano.
Yeah, this is again, so the concert grand piano is something that's been in need of, I was gonna say beyond repair and has been kind of a fixture, if you will, at the high school for many years. Part of the issue with it is the piano is constantly moved. There's a lot of stress on the actual frame itself, constant retuning, not exactly the best conditions to be wheeled around a 7-foot piano from different location to different location. So what we're looking to do is honestly look around for different quotes, because I didn't realize this, but pianos are more expensive than most people's cars.
Wow.
Really?
So, yeah.
I know they're not cheap. I know they're not cheap.
They're not cheap. A quick little cursory review. You'll look around, and many concert grand hall pianos are 6-digit plus. Like
Wow.
yeah, they start at about 125,000, and nicer Yamaha and whatever else are 175, 250, working their way up. No Steinways or anything like that. But what we're looking for is we're not looking for a concert hall. We're going to look at just a grand piano and try to find what's going to work best there long term, and kind of like work within the expectations of kind of the budget and what we're going to try to manage for the budget. But yeah, this is what we're looking for. It's going to try to meet the needs of the music, the band itself, and of the concert area itself, but also be budget friendly, kind of an option. That's what we're looking to do. Come back. I have got nothing here in front of me, but kind of come back in a few weeks or a month or two and kind of let you know, hey, this is the best bet that we can do, or this is the best deal that we can do, and come back to the board at that time.
Dr. Engel, and just to
Mhm.
confirm, the difference between the grand hall and the grand piano is pretty significant.
It's
when
pretty
we looked at it
significant, yes.
price-wise.
So just to give you guys an idea, like the concert grands, the grand halls are usually 7-foot plus pianos. So think Elton John, if you will, or like Billy Joel, kind of dueling pianos. A typical grand piano, they have all the way from baby grands, which are about 4.5 feet to about 6 feet, just depending. And we're probably looking at about a 6-foot piano versus a 7-foot plus piano. But it is a significant, like Dr. Halverson said, the price is, I would say about 70% reduced
Mhm.
for the smaller size.
Gosh, I didn't. I don't think in all my years on the board, we've ever bought a piano, so that's very interesting. So that must tell you how old that piano is.
It's paid its dues now.
Oh, boy.
So
Hmm.
that is
Wow.
the piano. Any questions on the
No,
piano? Okay.
sure we need it. Okay.
Uh,
All right, the food service renewals.
Okay, so as you'll remember, last year we went out to bid, and it wasn't even technically a bid, it was an RFP through the state. It was the first year that was allowable to go out for request for proposal for food service. We had two bidders, two finalists that got awarded. It was Sodexo and with Whitson's. This is the first year renewal, so this would be year two. Within the baseline RFP, there was an option for renewal for the food away from home CPI, which was 3.6%. At the time, and going through the RFP, we made it at a CPI of 3%, not to be exceeded by 3%. So if it was less than 3%, it would be whatever the percentage was, but not to exceed the 3%. And both are coming back at a 3% renewal for this upcoming year. Just to give you guys an idea, the maximum reimbursement through the state right now is higher than next year's proposal from both of these companies. So we are well within the 100% return for our claim, if you will. So in both sets of information are provided there for both Whitson's and for Sodexo, along with their pricing. I can go through the pricing if you'd like. I mean, it gets down to the 10,000 spots on some of the lunches here, but we can go through Sodexo's if you'd like. I mean, they saw a 3% increase. Breakfast is $2.26 and 66/100ths. And breakfast is $4.34 and 45/100ths thereafter.
Mhm.
So it's fourth digit breakdown. And then for Whitson's, the renewal is $2.49 for breakfast and $4.11 and 4/10 for lunch. And like I said, this year's reimbursements, as you can see, were $4.54 for lunch and $2.84 for breakfast, and both vendors are well under that.
Okay.
Okay.
And anything going on with the school lunch programs nationwide? So obviously there's a
So
lot of
at
rumor
first-
and innuendo about that.
So at first it was a little bit I got a little heart palpitation there, but it was a little scary seeing that on their list by the USDA and then immediately retracted thereof. It was in and then it was out. I think they took a moment and saw kind of what that meant and what that looked like across all 50 states with the National School Lunch Program being the the largest grant, if you would, from the US government for each and every school district in all 50 states.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
yep.
All right, good. Okay. High school driver's ed vehicles.
Yeah, we're just going to keep going. So, so there's definitely a need for driver's ed vehicles there at the high school. There's a need not only just for the vehicle itself to help out with the driver's ed numbers to be able to service the students for behind the wheel, but there's also been a growing need to kind of, I'm just going to say, look at a little bit different vehicle choice. As you'll notice, a lot of vehicles, especially new vehicles that are sold today, there's a lot more SUVs on the roads than ever before. And the SUVs have a little bit better rear visibility and a little bit more drivability, if you will, within them. So this would be to kind of look and to explore either the state co-op or the state government bid for vehicles for driver's ed vehicles. There's two co-ops that I'm aware of, plus the state of Illinois bid on municipality and government vehicles.
I know they're more expensive, but any thought about getting an electric car? I mean, we don't have electric charging stations.
Glad you brought that up. Dr. Halverson knows a little bit about that. So,
Dr. Engel and I talked about that a little bit. The tricky part would be if we were going to install the EV charging stations at the high school, we'd have to bore down and the costs associated with that a little bit. So while we may save some in the long run, that upfront cost could be a little bit more. We know that right now it's something that's needed pretty instantaneously for the high school, just because we do have that backlog of students who still need the driver's ed. So I don't know that the timeliness would be there,
Okay.
but it was a conversation that we had for sure.
I know the Holiday Inn installed two for $5,000, but I think it's because it's Blink and I think they get revenue off of. So I don't know. Sure, it'd be nice to have a charger somewhere someday, but maybe.
Might be an option at the new CT center possible. You know?
Oh,
Yeah, that
That's a
we,
great
we did have some initial
Yeah.
conversations around that too, because the ground would be opened up at that point, so we don't have the directional bore costs, et
Right,
cetera, at that
that's
point. So
true.
that is something we may be able to consider.
plus there's got to be grants for it somewhere.
Yeah, there definitely are.
Okay.
Definitely are.
Any questions, comments?
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Okay, so now we're on to staffing requests.
Okay. There are a number of staffing requests on the agenda this evening, and I'll go through those. I'll try to take those in bulk. Overall, you see a number, I think 9 staffing requests for East Aurora High School. We went through these in a lengthy and comprehensive manner in a couple of meetings with the high school to go through staffing. The bottom line, and I'll just have it as a top line piece, is that we're going to look at this as a cost savings, even though we're asking for an increase. Through scheduling, course selection, and so forth, the high school, in their internal deliberations, have been able to actually decrease 4 FTEs based on classes or sections that are necessarily either not filled or no longer needed due to some changes that need to be made from a curricular standpoint. However, that being said, we also look at what we're paying in overloads this year, and that would equate to roughly 13 FTEs for what we would pay for a first-year teacher with salary and benefits. The high school is asking now for an increase. When you look at a decrease of 4, an increase of 5, even though you see a 9 here. So what we're asking for is an increase of 3 FTEs for special education teachers. The rationale being that we are seeing an increase in the number of students who require special education services to maintain our compliance with their IEPs. 2 FTEs for bilingual teachers, again, because we see more students who are in need of EL services at the high school. We have 1 request for an NJROTC teacher at the high school because enrollment has increased to 480 students, and per our contract with the Navy, once we're over 451 students, we must add an instructor. Due to increased elective choices, we do need another art teacher. Again, there's a request for 1.0 FTE for another driver's education teacher. Again, as Dr. Engel alluded to, driver's ed to close the gap for students for the behind the wheel experience. We've continued to kind of lag behind even since COVID with students having that opportunity to have that behind the wheel experience, and we want to have more students have that behind the wheel experience to meet that criteria that's necessary. Again, we need additional world language teacher FTE at the high school. Specifically, we're seeing more students need that world language experience with an emphasis on Spanish speaking students. And so those are the requests for the high school. Are there any questions at this point? Okay. In addition to that, we are requesting 2 FTE teachers for our newcomer center at Bardwell Elementary School and 3 social workers because we do see a demand for increased social emotional need. We have an increasing number of students who are labeled McKinney-Vento who need additional services and just our all-around other supports that go beyond students and social workers' ability to meet students' need on their caseload, but to provide some more comprehensive support so that students can be successful in school, can access the curriculum, can be successful academically, behaviorally, socially, emotionally. So one of those social workers would be requested for Cowherd Middle School. One of those would be for Bardwell Elementary School. There would be another FTE that would be split 0.5 between Hermas Elementary and 0.5 between Brady Elementary School.
This all sounds good to me, and I talked to Dr. Halverson about this just for a minute, but so because of block scheduling, we have to hire a lot of the high school right? But does that mean at the rec center, we're gonna need more or need less, or is that gonna change for next year?
I wouldn't say it was necessarily the block scheduling. I'd say it was the combination of block scheduling and then bringing on the new, when we looked at building out our schedules there and just being new to it.
Okay.
So I really think for this year, it's going to help us to kind of right the ship. I don't anticipate this being an annual thing. Obviously,
Okay.
staffing needs could change as
Yeah.
students have different interests.
Yeah.
And when we build that career and tech center, on top of that,
Mhm.
the staffing could change with that as well. But it was kind of, there was dual rationale to it. And it was, yes, we were looking at new programming there, but we were also looking at,
Yeah.
a new system when we looked at building out that schedule.
Sure.
And, as Dr. Engel touched on briefly there, it would probably be a cost savings of probably about $250,000 there when we're looking at it. So
Oh.
it's definitely something that's necessary for this year. I don't know that I could project it out, or Dr. Ballard could project it out for future years at this point.
But the rec center itself, is that gonna need more teachers or less teachers because of this? Or won't affect it?
No, we're not anticipating that it would affect the rec center at this time. I mean, that staffing is, works
Stable?
in concert together. So
Okay. Thanks for that.
Dr. Ballard, you had mentioned an increase in McKinney-Vento students. Can you give a perspective of that?
we're seeing more students as labeled just as McKinney-Vento and needing more support from a social work standpoint. So those would be students who are, in an unhoused situation or needing it,
I
transportation,
I
those kinds of
understand the
things.
definition. I'm
Sure.
asking you said an increase in the number of students. I'm asking for a perspective on, are we talking, couple families, a couple students, tens, 20?
In terms of a specific number, I wouldn't be able to give you that specific number. I would tell you that the increase, I think we've seen a slow and steady increase in those numbers of families across the district, and across those schools, that are in need of those services. We see those McKinney-Ventos, families, we see those increases coming, and I think that's year over year been an increase for us.
I see. Thank you.
So we don't see, because of what's going on and, with the deportation stuff, we don't see a decline in enrollment. We're not worried about that, right? Necessarily. I mean, if we're gonna hire all these new teachers, we're not losing students, right?
I think at this point, we're projecting enrollment to be remaining stable at
Okay.
this point. Absolutely.
Okay.
That's not to say, I mean, every year you see trends, right? I mean, we saw this year, we had a big trend of increased enrollment at around fall. But I would think enrollment's projected to be stable.
Okay.
All right, I'm sure you've all been through that, so, okay. So,
There's just one more agenda item, Ms. Johnson. And there is a request for 4.16 overloads at Cowherd Middle School to fill in for an FMLA leave through the end of this school year. And just to note that these items would be coming down for action this evening.
so we're gonna do these tonight, correct?
Correct.
Definitely want to get them posted as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty, so we can adjourn our meeting at 5:53.